we have a crisis. These are not the type of people who come to America like my great-grandparents did, like your great-grandparents and grandparents and parents who came to America to kiss the ground. Instead, they spit on our flag, they trample on our values, and they commit crimes. And they do so at taxpayer expense. This insanity has to stop.
A sheriff saying these are all of his mugshots, at least, right here on the screen, the ones that they know of.
We'll show you this illegal migrant accused now of killing that Georgia student, Laken Riley. This is Jose Ibarra.
More like an open border, an illegal immigrant now accused of killing a mother and son while driving drunk, and he had already been deported multiple times before his latest arrest.
Of fatally shooting a San Francisco woman pled not guilty in court on Tuesday. Francisco Sanchez was charged with murder after he shot and killed Catherine Steinle on a San Francisco pier. Steinle was walking with her father when she was shot. Sanchez has been deported from the United States 5 times.
Members in the United States illegally are accused in a horrific murder in Texas that police say has links to satanic worship. 22-year-old Miguel Alvarez Flores and 18-year-old Diego Hernandez Rivera are both charged with kidnapping 3 girls and murdering 1. The suspects were seen smiling in court.
Don Rosenberg's son, Drew, was on his way home from law school in San Francisco when he was run over and killed by an illegal immigrant.
Police say that's 52-year-old Pedro Alberto Hernandez, who's now charged and behind bars. He's accused of killing a 6-year-old boy after running him over with his car 3 times.
And with more on this. Hi.
A man accused of murdering another man who he called his uncle pleaded not guilty to the crime today. 24-year-old Yeri Medina Ujoa appeared in court this morning. Investigators say that he used a fake name, posing as a 17-year-old, and had been in the country illegally.
4-year-old Eddie Jose Ortega Alvarado, who has since been arrested, had left El Paso and was in the Dallas-Fort Worth area. On June 2nd, detectives from El Paso met with Ortega in Fort Worth and believe he had murdered the woman from Honduras and stolen her money. Now, both Ortega and the woman from Honduras had been processed by Border Patrol.
Moving across the border, 3 men from Venezuela were arrested after allegedly badly beating another man and leaving him on the side of the road.
In a row, groups of Venezuelan migrants were charged with burglaries in DuPage County.
Most dangerous gang crossing into the United States, with law enforcement arresting members from Texas all the way to New York.
A Venezuelan man remains in jail this morning for allegedly being in possession of cocaine near Sacred Heart Church.
A Venezuelan migrant has been arrested and charged with the murder of a migrant woman in El Paso. 34-year-old
migrants living at a shelter in Yonkers were arrested this week, accused of being violent with staff members.
Man who deputies say is in the country illegally is accused of sexually assaulting a minor. 32-year-old Renzo Mendoza Montez was arrested.
Telling you about foreign fugitives coming to Massachusetts to escape prison in their home countries. Now, federal immigration authorities tell us they found one fugitive living in state-funded housing on the Cape. Investigative reporter Ted Daniel joining us live now. And Ted, this guy had been previously convicted of homicide.
Convicted and sentenced. ICE Boston tells me he's been wanted by the government of Venezuela since at least 2006 for violating in that country. 38-year-old Giordano Lopez faces immediate deportation. ICE Boston tells me Lopez failed to disclose his homicide conviction when he entered the United States at a Texas.
Arrested for attacking New York City police officers recently are members of a notorious Venezuelan gang, and that one of them should not have been in the United States because a Texas judge had previously ordered him deported.
County Sheriff's Office arrested these 3 men. Spokesperson for the Sheriff's Office says all 3 are undocumented immigrants from Guatemala. They face various charges, but the Sheriff's Office says they forced a woman into a car, then committed sexual battery on her at 2 different locations before the woman escaped, then flagged a passerby nearby.
In Chicago, Illinois, 29-year-old Adelvis Carmona Rodriguez, a Venezuelan migrant and alleged cartel member, was charged in a drive-by shooting that occurred on February 4th.
NBC News has learned Haitian migrants who were deported to Haiti today attacked pilots and immigration officers on another flight after it landed in Port-au-Prince.
Rowdy migrants in Yonkers scuffling with police officers.
At 10, a Venezuelan migrant is behind bars tonight for allegedly assaulting a federal officer.
Texas, a member of the dangerous Mexican cartel Jalisco Nueva Generacion, was caught attempting to illegally enter the country. In El Paso, officers arrested 8 cartel members from Venezuela, El Salvador, and Mexico. You can see the gang tattoo on one of the mugshots there. We're worried about a Venezuelan gang in New York. And then
Authorities in Texas have captured the illegal immigrant who killed 5 people, including a 9-year-old child. Fox News' Kevin.
Concerns in Harlem tonight after violence erupted outside a migrant shelter over the weekend.
A group of disorderly men were seen throwing objects at people walking by. Fox 9's
Accused of killing a 2-year-old toddler. This is him released by Prince George's County Police Department. We just showed the man there in Kenner accused of raping a 14-year-old girl in your community. The problem continues to get worse. It's not just at the border. Louisiana police saying this, a 19-year-old man from Honduras is accused of raping a 14-year-old girl and committing an armed robbery, this just outside the city of New Orleans.
Among those who've been apprehended on the southern border, but between ports of entry, more than 300 individuals who are on our terror watch list. Terrorist watch list. The frightening question is, if so many terrorists were caught attempting to cross our borders, how many have entered undetected?
On Mayor Johnson to address what he describes as disruptive and dangerous behavior among Chicago's new migrant population. Alderman Ray Lopez, whose ward does include that Gage Park shelter, says his constituents have witnessed gang recruitment efforts, drug use, sex acts, and prostitution. He says many migrants are, quote, joyfully ignoring curfews, and heroin abuse is a growing concern there.
Tonight, we take a ground level look at the effects of crime committed by illegal immigrants, many of whom have been deported multiple times. Correspondent Steve Harrigan reports tonight from Jacksonville, Florida.
Mugshots tell the stories in brief. The bigger story involves a revolving door of undocumented migrants. Mexican national Hector Eduardo Ramirez Gutierrez has been arrested for dealing meth and deported from the U.S. 7 times.
It's not a problem. It's a epidemic.
Yeah, good morning, Marky. Those 2 migrant sex crime arrests have sparked outrage from local officials in Western New York.
West New York man is charged with attempted murder. Police say Ernesto Lara Rojo cut a woman's throat with a razor blade. That happened yesterday afternoon in Cliffside Park. The victim at the hospital fighting for her life.
Than once, now with tragic consequences. Garcia Gutierrez is now charged with aggravated murder, and in last week's press conference, Sheriff Jones said the illegal immigrant turned murder suspect has been deported from the U.S. 7 times and jailed at least 11
the Norwood section of the Bronx with more. Phil.
Yeah, well, just last week, police arrested 8 migrants believed to be squatting inside of the basement of this home that you see right here. But it's what investigators would find inside: drugs and multiple weapons, along with a 7-year-old who was playing inside of that same room. Now, let's get